What's going on, everybody? It is Mike Tipton. I am here. You get to drink my tears as the Dallas Cowboys lose in the playoffs once again. If you want to get in and be a part of the show, I have the link for StreamYard up as well. So if you want to get in on that, you can go ahead and click over there on StreamYard. We are going live right now on Instagram Live. I want to give a shout out to Drea Thomas and people that are tuned in over there as well. As we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys getting that ass handed to them, which is not something I think any of us were really expecting. There was a part of me that said that the Dallas Cowboys would lose this game, but I didn't think that it would be via a blowout. I thought that the Dallas Cowboys, if they lost this game, it would be because they just, I was worried about the run. That was the thing. I spoke about it yesterday on Fire and Ice as well, was the running game that the Dallas Cowboys haven't been able to stop, which is the bread and butter for the Green Bay Packers. And Aaron Jones has owned, for lack of a better term, the Dallas Cowboys for the better part of his tenure in Green Bay. He's got 7 rushing touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys. He got 3 of them today in the first game of the playoffs. And the Dallas Cowboys wind up going down at one point by 32 points in the fourth quarter. They were able to kind of make it be a little close, but it wasn't anything worth writing home about. The biggest issues, of course, were going to be Dak Prescott and the interceptions, as I'm being told the Dallas Cowboys suck so bad. My guy, Jay, letting me know he still got a little bit of love for me as well. Little Hazelnut telling me he got a little love for me as well. So I'm happy about that stuff as well. Like I said, this is going to be a time where people get to make fun of the Dallas Cowboys as well. So you know what? I'm good with that. You want to make fun of the Cowboys? Go ahead and make fun of the Dallas Cowboys. Amber Bonda joining us right here on Instagram Live as well. Shanna likes to play. Shanna McKnight says she wants to be a part of the video on Instagram. I'm not too sure how this is going to translate over on to the other feeds, but hey, let's give it a try right here. Shanna, go ahead and, well, I guess you don't want it no more. I accepted it, but it's not there anymore. Let's see what we got over here. Good karma, my guy Jay Hood saying he's sorry. Hey, you know what? It happens. I'm not one of these people that gets too upset about something that I don't get to have an impact on, right? I've always been kind of that level-headed guy. I do get annoyed from time to time. I see that Shanna is over on the Instagram feed right now. So Shanna, if you can talk, let me know what you got going on. I want to see if the other people would be able to hear it. If not, we're going to have to just call it an L. Okay, so I guess that's just all she's going to put is just give me the L right there as well. There was no talking, no nothing. She just put an L up for that. I mean, I get it, right? Like, there's a whole bunch of people that are going to be out there just saying that the Dallas Cowboys are garbage, which I guess you can kind of say. Again, going into this game, yesterday on Fire and Ice, I'm talking about it with Brandon the Iceman Cone, and I'm talking about the entire issue that I have with the Dallas Cowboys and why I thought that Green Bay was going to be able to win this game. I thought there were 2 possible scenarios. Green Bay wins a close game, or Dallas completely blows out Green Bay. I did not foresee just an utterly dominant performance from the Green Bay Packers. And to me, the Green Bay Packers are a pretty scary team. If they can establish the run like that, they can beat anybody. And I'm seeing some messages over here. The Cowboys suck ass, all that good stuff. Great. Zero actual insight to the game. Just the Cowboys suck ass. Okay. And then Amber Bond is saying, why do they choke in the playoffs? This is what I wanted to get to yesterday that I wasn't really able to get to with Brandon Cohn while we were doing Fire and Ice. And I'm glad that you brought that up, Amber, because I think the reason that the Dallas Cowboys, you saw it at the beginning of the game, you heard the commentators talking about it as well, was there was something that seemed a little off, right? Like, what was going on with the Cowboys? Why do they seem so off? This isn't the team, the jovial team that we've been seeing throughout the year. This is a team that looks just out of it. And I kept thinking to myself about this as we were getting closer to today, getting closer to kickoff. And I think a lot of the thing is that the Dallas Cowboys have the most pressure on them possible. Think about that, right? And I was messaging with someone a little bit earlier today as well that was talking about how the Dallas Cowboys, they love hating the Dallas Cowboys because they're always like, this is our year. I don't know, and I've been around a ton of Dallas Cowboys fans. I don't know a whole ton of them that are always walking around like, this is our year. They might say it sarcastically because it gets a rise out of people, but I don't know a whole bunch of people that go and do that, right? The issue to me is that there was so much pressure on the Dallas Cowboys that I think whenever you look at that team on the sideline, you kind of saw them not like they were in their own heads. To start that game, they were in their own heads. They had no clue what they could have done to even be competitive in that game. And that to me is what it was, right? Like the weight of expectation, 28 years of constantly losing, 28 years of they always choke in the playoffs, which they do. Like it's well earned. All this stuff is well earned from the Dallas Cowboys. But the one thing that I would say is it becomes insurmountable for a while, right? Now, it's not this team that has to deal with all of, or that helped create the 28 years of history that we've seen from the Dallas Cowboys. But they are going to constantly be that team that everyone's looking at as they're going to choke. 28 years of they're going to choke. Dak Prescott is going to Dak Prescott in the playoffs. I saw a comment from over here, Louis Bougie, saying that the Cowboys got outcoached. I will agree with that. And I think that the biggest issue that the Dallas Cowboys came across in this game specifically was that you went from being a straight traditional man-to-man defense to all of a sudden introducing a brand new zone concept. The Dallas Cowboys are not a zone type of team. The Dallas Cowboys are a man-to-man type of team. They come in against Green Bay knowing that they need to, stop the run, so they have to kind of move the box and adjust and do certain things like that. But they just stayed in the zone defense, and Romeo Doubs is wide open on that same post route the entirety of the game. It was almost laughable that you could say, okay, anytime that Jordan Love drops back to pass, even if it's off his back foot, he's just going to throw it out there because the Dallas Cowboys didn't know how to play a zone defense because they hadn't really played a zone defense for the most part of the year because their thing is let's get pressure on the quarterback, let's rush as much as possible. And to me, it seemed like the Dallas Cowboys were just simply I think what it was is we're trying to be a little too cute. For lack of a better term, the Dallas Cowboys are trying to be a little too cute at the wrong time of the season. This is not the time to introduce silly little things like that. So for me, watching the Dallas Cowboys want to introduce a new concept this late in the season in a time where it really matters the most, if you want to get creative on offense, maybe throw in a little wrinkle like what we saw Philadelphia do with the brotherly shove, then maybe that's what it is, right? Brandon the Iceman Cone on Instagram saying, here's my insight. No matter how high of a seed the Cowboys are, they always find a way to lose in the postseason. When you look up the definition of choke job, there's a picture of our beloved Dallas Cowboys. Amber Banda agrees with them. Then he goes on to say, they are who we thought they were, and McCarthy has to go. This was an unacceptable loss, bottom line. And then Louis Bougie saying that he agrees with me as well. You can't have Parsons drop back into coverage because that's what makes Michael Parsons so special, right? Is his amazing ability to put pressure on the quarterback, his amazing ability to finally get some holds called his way. And that to me is part of the issue that I saw with the Dallas Cowboys is this wasn't the defense that we saw the Dallas Cowboys be somewhat successful with, right? Like we knew their issue was going to be the run game. But whenever you go into a zone concept that you haven't played all year, what the hell do you expect to happen? My biggest issue with that with the Dallas Cowboys is even though they're getting burned, just habitually getting burned, there was no deviation from the game plan. There was no adjustment whatsoever. It was, it's going to be this way, bottom line. And to me, that's completely unacceptable, whether you're Mike McCarthy or whether you're Dan Quinn. And I was thinking about this as the game was progressing. I was talking to my guys, James Steele, Pat Costello, because they love drinking my tears as well. And the issue that I had with this entire game was the Dallas Cowboys were going to fire Mike McCarthy no matter what. I feel like if Mike McCarthy doesn't win a Super Bowl, even if he made the Super Bowl and they lost, he was going to get fired. We've seen stuff like that happen before with NFL franchises. My whole thinking was they're going to fire Mike McCarthy. They're going to promote Dan Quinn, and Dan Quinn would eventually be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. There was a lot of people on X talking about how maybe they go after Bill Belichick, maybe they go after Vrabel, maybe they go after blah, 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 blah. No, I always thought that if the Cowboys got rid of Mike McCarthy, they were going to promote Dan Quinn. I feel like that's going to happen. I feel like it's an inevitability now, right? Like if Jerry Jones in the press conference didn't fire Mike McCarthy at that point in time, it's going to happen later on this week. And Dan Quinn will be promoted into being the new head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. But to me, did his stock drop a little bit? Was there something that might have been said? Was there a rumor that was leaked? Was there something that could have happened where we saw this team just completely shit the bed in the first half of this game, be as emotionless as possible, not knowing what the future is going to be with them, because maybe they heard some rumblings about their head coach is going to be fired. Maybe they heard some rumblings. Maybe this locker room wasn't as cohesive as we thought they were. And that was kind of on display as we saw the game unfold. The way CeeDee Lamb and Dak were just not on the right page. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb hooked up 135 times this season. But somehow during this game, they were just unable to do anything, right? So if you want to talk about analysis, yeah, the Dallas Cowboys sucked. And yes, the Dallas Cowboys choked in the playoffs. It's what the Dallas Cowboys do for the last 28, now moving on to 29 years. But how much of that has to do with just a lack of whatever it might be, right? The je ne sais quoi. Maybe we need Peyton Manning to do what he did with the Detroit Lions, where he goes into the stadium and lifts the curse, right? Maybe that's something that needs to happen. I joked about it with my sister. She sent me a text earlier and was like, maybe you can be on the sidelines and help out the Dallas Cowboys. Probably. I might have done a better job. Who knows? I've never in my life thought that I could be a better head coach than what I saw on the field. And today I thought to myself, I could be a better head coach than what I saw on the field. And the Dallas Cowboys have just been an absolute dumpster fire. Like that playoff game, yes, it ended. It was a 14-point game, blah, 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 blah. Right? But yeah, there needs to be some issues there. Amber Bonda saying, according to Wikipedia, Aaron Jones owns the Dallas Cowboys. I don't even think it's according to Wikipedia anymore. I think it's according to what we saw on the field. Hey, maybe there's a ghost behind me because that thing's been hung up for about 2.5 months now. That was interesting. Oh, well, maybe the ghost in the house doesn't like me talking bad about the Dallas Cowboys because that picture's been up for quite some time right there, okay? Got my guy, Angry Cowboys fan. He's joined as well. Thank you all so much for joining in on the live here. My guy, Bill Kuhn as well. Thank you so much. I'm looking at what the Dallas Cowboys have done. And this is what I want to ask you as Dallas Cowboys fans, even as Dallas Cowboys haters. I honestly couldn't care less what you guys got to say today because we saw what happened in this game. Dallas Cowboys were thoroughly outplayed. There was no excuse. There's no excuse to be made. Dak Prescott's 2 turnovers, ultimately getting 2 touchdowns on that for Green Bay, giving them a short field and then a pick 6. That's what causes the discrepancy in this game. I 100% agree with that. So what is it now that the Dallas Cowboys have to do? I'm getting asked by Louis Bougie over on Instagram, do the Cowboys keep Dak? Yes, you have to. The way Dak played this year, regular season Dak, was amazing. 1 interception was pretty bad. The second interception was just a hell of a play by Jair Alexander, right? Could have been considered a hold, maybe shoulda, coulda, woulda, whatever that is. It's an interception at the end of the day. But that interception, to me, not necessarily on Dak. It's more of just an amazing defensive play, right? But Dak, as we saw during the regular season, had such a command of this offense. There was a level of trust, of brotherhood, camaraderie on the field that we saw with the Dallas Cowboys this year that we hadn't seen with that team in quite some time. Now I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys and say, okay, you cannot trade Dak Prescott. Last year, I would have said if Dak continued to lead the league in interceptions, you trade Dak Prescott. He draws the interceptions down this year. He leads the league in touchdown passes. I don't know how you justify getting rid of him, right? Because if you look at the way that game plays out, it wasn't the offense's fault necessarily that the Dallas Cowboys lost that game. It was on defense, giving up big play after big play after big play after big play. That defense is what let the Dallas Cowboys down this year. And they have at certain points throughout the season this year let the Cowboys down, let the fans down. We've seen it. Shannon likes to play saying the Packers can play better in the cold. weather than our Texas boys. It was freezing out there today. It's a dome stadium, right? Like they hardly ever open Cowboys Stadium. I want to give a shout out to my guy, Will Heron from joining over in Louisiana as well. Got nothing but love for you, my guy. Amber Bond is saying Dallas Cowboys fans need to boycott the Cowboys and stop buying merch. The Cowboys need to or don't need to win to make money. Cowboys fans need to change that. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that, but I would say that it kind of, I guess it makes sense, right? Like Cowboys fans, I think I can't even say that because I feel like Dallas Cowboys fans are pretty demanding of the team. I was going to say that maybe they just need to be more demanding of the team, but no, the Dallas Cowboys fans are pretty damn demanding of the team. My guy Brandon the Iceman Cone saying the Dallas Cowboys to-do list: get rid of Mike McCarthy, keep Dak, sign Derrick Henry, or improve the ground game somehow, promote Dan Quinn to head coach, improve their secondary, and try not to ever play the Packers again. I think that's going to be the hard one, right? Like never playing the Packers again, because holy hell, it's 10 out of the last 11 games. 10 out of 11, right? Now we're spanning two different quarterbacks here. Aaron Rodgers owned the Cowboys almost as much as he owned the Bears. And now it seems like Jordan Love can pick this team apart. And this is the scary team, right? Like I'm burying some stuff here because I feel like the Packers need to get their flowers, right? And I'll say this because I know at the end of the day, it's always going to come down to, especially as Dallas Cowboys fans, who we think is to blame. And we're going to say the Dallas Cowboys lost that game instead of giving the Packers the love that they deserve, saying they won that game. They went into Dallas. They slapped the hell out of the Cowboys. They win that game. This is a terrifying notion to think about. And they brought it up multiple times during the broadcast. The Green Bay Packers receiving core is extremely young. The Green Bay Packers team in general is extremely young. They're going to have cap space. They're going to have the ability to get better, to sign, veteran free agents that have been through it that can help lead them to the greener pastures that they want to be a part of. So that's a scary concept to think about. Yesterday I said on Fire and Ice that the NFC North belonged to the Lions. I might have jumped the gun there because what I'm seeing out of Green Bay is pretty damn terrifying. If I'm an NFC North fan, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, we had 30 years of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, and now we might add to that seeing how good Jordan Love can be. And that's just an insane concept to me that we might have, upwards 40 years if it's all said and done, if Jordan Love can stay healthy and if he stays in Green Bay the entirety of his career, up to 40 years of just three quarterbacks that are from really, really damn good to great. I want to give a shout out to my guy, Chris Hanna, for joining us here on the live as well. If you can, go ahead and give him a little bit of love for his show. We're going to try this one more time, see if Chris is actually able to talk to us here via the Instagram live. I went ahead and said that he can join. I'll accept it one more time. There he is. Chris, I don't know if this is going to work. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I saw you were live, so I was like, let me give a little support to my boy Michael Tipton because I know you're as sad as I am right now.
I guess that's the thing too. Is like I'm not even sad. There was a part of me that thought that this would happen, and there's a part of me that knows, okay, you know what, it's done. There's nothing more I can do. Let's just move on and see what the Dallas Cowboys can do. So take me through it, Chris, because you're a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. What's going through your mind whenever you're watching this game? Because it got ugly really fast.
Yeah, yes, I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. I think I'm more like you now, more realist. So part of me definitely knew that they should win this game. They're the best. They're the second seed. We got away with the NFC East. We should win. But then the other part of me that always gets this.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Chris is gone, it looks like here. Aw. Okay. I'm going to see how I can get rid of him. But I think we might just have the awkward Chris sitting there for a little bit as well. Okay, so Alex 7G asking, he's not even upset about it. The defense was trash. Is Dan Quinn really that good? We're going to see if we can get Chris Hanna back on here again. Let's see, Chris. Are you still there? This is going lovely. There he is.
I don't know what happened.
You got a phone call.
Yeah, so and I'll let you go do your live, but I appreciate you letting me in. Yeah, part of me knew that the Packers could beat us because they always do. And for me, it was all mental for the Cowboys. I mean, it was mental for the defense, it was mental for the offense. You saw the offense get going at the end, and then you're still sitting there thinking, oh, is it going to happen? But no, I was done after the second half. I was like, I finished the game, but I knew it was going to be done. And I don't know, I feel, and I don't know if you agree with me, what we really do lack is the mental toughness, Mike. The Packers have it, the Niners have it, Stroud and the Texans have it. I mean, we're not young. We're more experienced. We're talented. We have more assets than a lot of other teams, but the problem is we let ourselves get too much hyped up into the media. We listen to everything. We don't have the mental toughness to be able to handle games like this. And I just feel like we pay down to teams like the Packers, who obviously have a lot more to prove. Their players have a lot more to prove than our players. I mean, a lot of them are still trying to get their bag. And so why would you play down to a team that technically is playing for a lot, specifically, specific players?
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with that as well. Like the Dallas Cowboys, I think you hit the nail on the head saying that they don't have a lot of mental toughness, right? And that was kind of the thing that I was thinking about. I mentioned it a little bit earlier in the live as well, and I'm glad to recap this. Is you saw early on in the game that this team wasn't on the same page. You saw early on in the game that this team was, having their issues. Dak talking over to CeeDee Lamb on the sideline, and the commentators kept talking about it as well, right? Like there seems to be something going on with this team, like they just weren't, they weren't vibing the way that we've always seen this team vibe throughout the year. So for me, looking at what we saw at the Dallas Cowboys, I think what that was just them feeling the pressure, right? 28 years of expectations, 28 years of this team is just not going to be a winner, 28 years of hearing Dallas Cowboys haters, because I don't know how many Cowboys fans actually say it, of this is going to be their year. Right. I think that's what the expectations comes from. And I think, there's something beautiful about not having to worry about the issues, I guess, so to speak, of saying, this is a young team that has no expectations on them versus this is a seasoned team that has been to the playoffs multiple times, that now has a mindset of NFC Championship / Super Bowl or bust. And those are some heavy expectations to put on a team that, let's face it, doesn't win a lot of games in the playoffs. Historically, over the last 28 years, they've won, 4 playoff games? So to me, it's not even a real issue.
Yeah. And, I know you have some questions, and really thank you for letting me vent a little bit here. But, how do you break that? How do you break from that though, Mike? Because it's going to happen every year. I mean, every year the expectations are going to get there again. They haven't gotten to this over 28. It's going to be the same thing every year until they get there, or until they even win a Super Bowl. And so eventually they should win one, but how are they going to get past what you just said, the mental roadblock of the pressure? Because as America's team, quote unquote, you're going to have to tackle on that every year. And my soft answer for that is probably the coaching. I mean, we can sit here all day and say Dak is not the answer, but what are you going to, what are you going to do though? Like what other, a trade can happen or whatnot, but for me, it's about the coaching. And as much as I think we talked about this before, but I did like, and I do still like McCarthy. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad coach. I just don't think he's the right coach for what we want, which is a Super Bowl. He's a great regular season coach, and when he has Aaron Rodgers, he can win it once because that's his resume. But besides that, he's known as a great regular season coach. And as Cowboy fans and Cowboys, we're sick and tired of just regular season. We want to be in the championship game, and we don't want to get embarrassed by a 7 seed that literally just became the first 7 seed in history to win a playoff game, and that's against us.
Yeah.
And so, in my last points here, so I can leave you alone, is I was gonna talk about this too. Is people ask me why did I make this film on Tony Romo, and if you think about it, he was the last guy as a quarterback, as the leader of this football team, to take us the closest we've ever been to tasting a championship game. And that was against the Packers in Lambeau Field in 2014. That's the closest we've gotten all these years to get to a championship game. And it shows who he is. It shows what he's done. And I'm not saying Dak can't do it, but I mean, how many years does he have now? How many seasons has he had now? He's had all the weapons. He's had the defense. He's had the line. He's had weapons that Tony never had in his career in Dallas. So what's the excuse? I mean, it's just frustrating, but...
No, trust me. I get it. I appreciate you coming on. Again, this is what it's supposed to be, right? It's a little vent session for us as we ask the questions of what's going to happen with the Dallas Cowboys. Chris, I appreciate you. I'm going to let you go because I got a couple other people. I
appreciate you, Mike. You have a good one. I'll keep watching.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, my guy, Will Heron, you requested to join as well. While I wait for Will Heron to join the live here, I will answer the question that was asked to me about Dan Quinn. Is he that bad? I don't think it's that bad. I think what it is a lot of the times defensively you get stagnant. And
no. Here we go. Not to the Super Bowl once again. This is ridiculous, man. You know what the problem is? You talked about this before. It's Dak Prescott. Dude's phenomenal. He's got a great arm, does awesome things. I told you this before. He is great in the huddle. He is great in the locker room. He is a great team player. Here's who you want on your team. Not a quarterback, though. He's going to make that mistake. He's going to screw things up like he always does when it comes down the stretch. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is the last time. The guy before did a great job. I don't know what he was saying. The guy that you were just talking to, talking about how Tony Romo didn't have weapons. Des Bryant?
Jason Witten.
You're the guys that Tony Romo was throwing to that. He could have made it to the Super Bowl. I remember he bungled a snap and stuff like that. We were talking about that Seattle game. Anyways, the here, the now, I'm beyond frustrated. No more. Get Cooper Rush off the bench, put him in, trade contracts with him. I don't care what you got to do. Let's get Bill Belichick in here. Why not? Mike McCarthy hasn't done diddly do with what he's gotten here so far. He has coached talent before. He's been to a Super Bowl. We know I'm not a Jerry Jones fan, but he's got the money. He'll be given whatever he needs to make it happen. Do it. Whack me. Coming in hot, baby.
Hey, I like it. I love it, man. I mean, go Cajuns. That's right.
I miss you.
I got nothing but love for you, my guy. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? Like it's.
Yeah, can't beat that. I'm going to get out because I'm already on fire. Love you.
I got nothing but love for you, my guy. Thank you. Will Heron, former ABC7 sports anchor over here in El Paso, weather guy, all kinds of stuff. Got nothing but love for my guy. But he's 100% right. Like, there's a lot of issues here with the Dallas Cowboys at hand. My guy Alex G saying, LOL, I don't know. I don't like to blame anything, but Dan Quinn dropped the ball on defense and he couldn't stop the Packers. That's 100% what I'm agreeing with as well, right? Again, I mentioned a little bit earlier, and I got no problems reiterating these facts, is Dan Quinn wants to throw in a brand new wrinkle with the Dallas Cowboys defense. Instead of playing the man style that they've played all year long, now in the playoffs, in a win or go home situation, he wants to completely change the format of this defense, the concept of this defense, and go from being man-to-man to a zone. And you can tell that the Dallas Cowboys defenders had a hard time playing zone because Romeo Doubs was wide open on that post. It was like a 15 to 20-yard post that Romeo Doubs was open on at least, and I cannot stress this enough, at least 6 different times during that game. He set a career high for himself as a receiver by the mid part of the third quarter or even in the second quarter. There was a point in the game where he was just unstoppable. And the Dallas Cowboys, being in these zones instead of being man-to-man, were so disorganized that you just had the ability of Jordan Love to fall back, even off his back foot, throw the ball and know that there was going to be somebody there that was going to be able to catch the ball. And the Dallas Cowboys, to me, defensively, Dan Quinn, everybody like that, just dropped the ball. There's nothing else to say here. And whenever Alex was asking, is Dan Quinn the answer? Yesterday, I would have said yes. Yesterday, I would have been like, yeah, if they don't win. Because I always thought the mindset for the Dallas Cowboys was we either win the Super Bowl, not even make the Super Bowl. Win the Super Bowl is the only way Mike McCarthy keeps his job. If this team was able to go to the NFC Championship, make it to the Super Bowl, and they lost in the Super Bowl, Mike McCarthy was going to be fired. That's all. That was my mindset with this entire thing with the Dallas Cowboys. But now I look at what happened with this defense, how badly this defense played, and I sit here and I think to myself, is Dan Quinn the guy? Is Dan Quinn the master motivator that would be able to get this team over the hump whenever it comes to what the Dallas Cowboys ultimately want to do, and that's win a Super Bowl? Unless you're willing to just completely rebuild, right? Unless you're willing to eat shit for the next 5 years or so, stock up on draft picks, and then completely rebuild this thing all over again. Because again, that Dak Prescott contract is going to become an albatross. To me, it's already untradeable, so you cannot trade Dak Prescott. To me, you have issues with the offensive line getting older and older and older as well. Tyron Smith, when is he going to be out the door? Zach Martin, his contract is going to be coming up. CeeDee Lamb, that's going to be a big contract. Tony Pollard's already a big contract, right? So the money issue is what's going to cause a lot of issues with the Dallas Cowboys. Do you blow the whole thing up and then try to start from scratch? Because I know right now, if you're able to trade, money contracts, right? If you're able to trade some big money contracts to a team that needs a quarterback, that feels like they're just a quarterback away, go ahead and trade those deals, right? Make those deals. So that way you can start stockpiling draft picks. But right now, I don't see the Dallas Cowboys being able to trade a Dak Prescott because of how much money he has. Because if you look at the teams that are out there that need a quarterback, it's all young teams that have no shot. Maybe you talk to Chicago about it. Maybe that could be something. Louis Bougie saying that Dan Quinn called a bad game. I completely agree with it. Dan Quinn was already thinking of where he's going next. But that's the thing. And I'm glad that you brought that up. Again, I feel like Dan Quinn already knew no matter what happens, the writing is on the wall. He's the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So to me, it's either the Dallas Cowboys knew that, the players already knew that, and that's why they played just so bad up front, because they have the pressure of, okay, if we lose this game, our coach is out of here. Our head coach is out of here. They like playing for that guy. There has not been a player on that team that has said anything negative about Mike McCarthy. They love the way that he coaches. But it's us as fans, they're saying we need to get this guy out of here, because is he going to be the guy to lead us to a Super Bowl? Because those are the expectations. I think that the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Cowboys fans are going to have to dial it back from now on. We're going to have to bring it back just a little bit, because it's going to be an impossible task for the Dallas Cowboys moving forward, right? I love the way this team is made up. I don't love how handcuffed they are in the salary cap. I don't love where they're going to be drafting, right? This has been the issue with the Dallas Cowboys. What helped get Cleveland to be a good team? I know it's a bad example because of what just happened to them. What helped Houston get to be able to turn it around? What helped San Francisco get to be able to turn it around? It was a lot of losing. Some really bad seasons that happened there. The Dallas Cowboys haven't had those seasons. The Dallas Cowboys haven't had, top 3 picks or top 5 picks for the majority of these 28 years. They've just been a mediocre franchise, getting mediocre players over and over and over and over again. Not being able to get that guy that changes the trajectory of the team. And that's the biggest issue to me. Louis Bougie saying that Mike McCarthy isn't the guy. He only won a Super Bowl in Green Bay, and that was with the great quarterback that he had with Aaron Rodgers. And that's also the thing too, right? Like I look at Mike McCarthy's overall record, and I'm kind of surprised with the fact that Mike McCarthy is only 11-11, right? Like only 11-11 as a head coach that won the Super Bowl in the playoffs. And 1-3, obviously, with the Dallas Cowboys being their head coach as well. So to me, there's a lot more questions and answers. I appreciate everyone that's been on the live. I said I was only going to do this for a little bit. I wind up doing it for about 35 minutes. I want to get to watch the game. I know some of y'all want to watch the game as well. I'm all about it. I enjoy having these conversations. Hopefully we can do some more of these back and forths. I want to see how this integrated with what I have working in the other live that I have right now, where we're live on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, or X rather, Facebook, all over the place. So I want to see how this all integrated, because I kind of like the way that this is set up. So thank you all so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can see what happens with the Dallas Cowboys coming up. My emotions are already out of this, so now I feel like I can enjoy the NFL playoffs and hopefully the Super Bowl, and hopefully we'll see you all down the road. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.